Hey guys, today's video is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be in the kitchen and we're going to talk about Mandoline slicers. And I've got two different models from OXO and I can't wait to tell you more about them. And personally, I don't use Mandoline slicers a lot in the kitchen. I actually enjoy using my knife, my chef's knife. I enjoy cutting and slicing with a knife. But there are times where either you have a lot you want to chop or cut, or you're looking for that consistent cut. For example, if you're doing gratin dauphinois or scalloped potatoes, you're looking for that consistent round potato cut, and this is where a Mandoline slicer comes in handy. Now, this is not a sponsored video. I actually bought both slicers, and the backstory to that is I'm a big fan of OXO products. I have a lot of OXO products in my kitchen, and I think they generally have really good quality products. So when I was looking at Mandoline slicers, I saw that they had two different models, and I figured, let me get both, try them out, and tell you guys which one I like more. Now, there's a bit of differences between the two models. The first one being the chef's Mandoline slicer. As you can see, this has a straight edge, and the other one is a V-edge blade, and this is the V Mandoline slicer. I'll put links in the description to both of them. They're both Mandoline slicers, but there's a lot of differences between the two, starting with how you operate them to how they perform. And here's a spoiler alert. I really wanted to like the chef Mandoline slicer, and I loved absolutely everything about it except the way it cuts. So let me tell you more. But before I do, briefly the difference between a straight edge and a V-edge Mandoline slicer. Typically speaking, a V-edge Mandoline is better for soft food than a straight edge, and also requires less force because you have more cutting leverage from the two blades that are converging in a single point over here, and therefore it requires less force from you as you have two blades cutting the food instead of one single blade. With soft food as well, like tomatoes, it is less likely to squish them versus a straight blade, which really needs to be sharp to be able to cut through soft food without squishing them. On the other hand, a straight blade like this one is better for harder foods, but also gives you a much more consistent cut if you're looking for consistency. The V blade might introduce some curve in your cut food. The straight one can give you thinner and more consistent results. Now, before purchasing these, I read a lot of reviews on Amazon with a lot of people very happy with the chef's Mandoline slicer, but a lot of them saying the blade was not sharp enough. So today we're gonna test them out with a bunch of vegetables, both soft and hard, to see which one is better. Before we do the cutting tests, let me tell you how they both function and how they operate. And I'm gonna start with the V blade, which upon taking it out of the box, I was extremely disappointed. I did not get a good feel of the quality. It's all made from plastic. It flexes. I wasn't happy. And then I tried to figure out how to operate it, and yes, I must admit, I did not open the manual, but I figured it's a Mandoline slicer. How difficult can it be? And it took me a while. It took me a while to figure it out. So the way it works, over here, you've got 4 different thickness levels, ranging from 1.5, 3, 4.5 to 6 millimeters, or 1/16 inch, 1/8, 3/16, and 1/4 inch. And you simply move this over here to get the 4 different thickness levels. And as you can see, when you open and close this, you get the varying thicknesses over here to make that cut. Now, in this position, it is locked, so the blade is recessed and it's supposed to give you some protection for your fingers. If you want to change the blade, this is what you need to do. First of all, you need to remove this from here by pressing over here, taking this out, and then you need to unlock this. This opens, and this is where you have the other blade, which is the crinkle cut. So to take that out, you press over here, and then you put this back in, just like that, and you close this back, lock it, and then, oops, the other way around, you put this over here, and I still struggle to figure out how. Yeah, that's the order. So you base first, and then you push it down. See? It's not straightforward. Let's try this again. Base. There you go. And that's where you have the crinkle cut. And then if you want to do the julienne, again, you unlock, you remove this. Well, let's take this out again. There you go. Take this out, put this back in. Right there. There we go. And then lift this up from here. And this is where you have the julienne. You have a 3mm or 1/8 inch and a 6mm or 1/4 inch. Let's take this out, and you have to be very careful because these are sharp. Close this back, pop this guard from here. There you go. And then put this back here, push it down, and again, you have to be very careful that you are pushing from here rather than the blades themselves, otherwise you're going to lose your finger. So push it down, close this back up, put the straight blade, there you go, and lock it. Then with this julienne, and a nice thing is that they have the colored dots over here to tell you that you have to use it at the highest or the thickest thickness at 6mm. So you take it all the way here, and this is how you get the julienne blades. Quite the workout, not very user-friendly, and to be honest, I wasn't very happy with how easy it is to operate. Also, when you want to remove the julienne, it's very easy to put your fingers over here and get it on the blade versus just pushing from here. And then when you want to put it back here, you have to, again, be super careful in how you put it. So not the best user experience in my opinion. Another thing is these all are removable, and at times they would just fall off as I was working with the Mandoline, and then you have to figure out how to put them back again. Let's see if I can get this to work. There you go. This goes like that, and then this one goes like this. So it's not rocket science, it's just not very straightforward. Now let me show you how the other one works. You've got a knob over here. You've got all the different thicknesses, and it has much more thicknesses than the other one. You can go all the way from 1/16 to 3/8 inch. All you do is move that to change the thickness, as you can see. And then if you want to do the thin julienne, which is over here, all you do is move it there, and sorry, that's the thick julienne, and you got the julienne blades that just pop up. And if you want the thinner julienne, move it once more, and you've got the blades over here. Super easy, super straightforward. If you want a crinkle cut, all you do is take this out. That's your straight edge, that's the crinkle one. Flip and put it back in. Once you're done, you want to lock it, take that all the way to the end, and it's locked. Done. It cannot get any easier than that. The material as well is much better in my opinion. It's much better built. There's stainless steel over here, plastic on the sides. I think they do have a all stainless steel model, but this one is ABS, I believe, on the sides. But it feels very sturdy versus this thing that is very flimsy, finicky. Oops. Yeah, I really wanted to like this one, but now, more important than all this, how do they perform? And let's start slicing some vegetables to see that together. Now, they both come with food guards, which are really important to protect your fingers. You put the vegetable over here, these prongs will catch it, and then you simply glide and slice. The chef one has a spring, so it's a spring-loaded one, which helps push the vegetable back without you having to manually push it. I have seen versions of the V1 with a spring as well. Mine did not come with a spring, so you can get either or. And to be honest, I thought I would prefer the one with a spring, but the force, the pressure is too hard, and sometimes it's just pushing the vegetables out. So actually, I ended up liking the one without a spring more, and I can manually regulate or push it down as much as I want. So let's start with this one, and I'm going to start with harder vegetables. I'm going to start with a potato, and let's do the thinnest cut. They do have a kickstand that you can kick out over here. And let's change this to the straight edge. And let's do the 1mm or 1/16 inch. Pretty easy. And these are the slices. I don't know how well you can see. Pretty thin. I'm not going to go through the entire spectrum over here. I'm just going to match what this one has. So I'm going to do 1.5, 3, 4.5, and 6mm to show you how they compare. So this is 1.5 over here. I'm going to do 3. I'm going to do 4.5. And I'm going to do 6. So pretty easy, very consistent slices, and that looks good. Now let's try with the V-edge. Again, pop the feet. And the first one is 1.5. And off the bat, it's hard to show it on camera, but you realize it is much easier. It requires much less force to slice. Super easy. And the thickest, very, very minimal force. Absolutely love how it does. And again, these are the slices. Very nice. So let's do a carrot at 1.5 millimeters. See how thin? I love it. It's very easy. Let's do a thicker one. Very nice. Let's try with the other one. And there you go. This is where we start seeing the problems with this. Let's try it again. It works. It's just not as smooth and fluid and easy as it is with the other one. Let me show you the crinkle cut. So over here, gotta take this out. Lock this again, or unlock this. Take that out. No, base first. Push it into place. And let's do that. Now, as you get lower with the vegetable, I do recommend you use the gourd like that. You just plug it in, then. And these are the crinkle cuts. Very nice crinkled cuts. And let's do the crinkle cut over here. Very easy. Just take this out. Put this back in place. Again, use the guard once you get low like that to protect your fingers. So put that there. As you can see, it pushes it back. So and these are the crinkle cuts. So very nice. I like it. It works. But it's not as easy as it is with the V-edge. Now, where this really is much more noticeable is if we're doing julienne. So I'm going to go back to the straight blade, and let's go the 6 millimeter or 1/4 inch julienne, and let's do a hard fruit, a potato. Put that here. Use the guard to protect your fingers, and let's do that. And it's stuck. I have to put a lot of force to get that cut. It didn't even go all the way through. Let's do that again. And let's slice. It does work, but a lot of force. There you go. And this is what I meant by the spring is pushing the vegetable. You cannot carry it with the prongs because it's being pushed away. Whereas with this, there you go, the prongs, you can carry it. And let's try the V-edge. Let's do the straight blade. And let us get the julienne. Out. Pop this back in and careful. Ouch. There you go. Put this back. Go all the way to 6 millimeters. And that same potato that I was cutting with the other one, look how easy it is going to be to slice. There you go. Very, very easy. Very smooth. It just glides through the food, whereas the other one was struggling too much. Now, let's try the smaller julienne with the carrot. And as you can see, it effortlessly, it just slices through them. Now let's try that same carrot over here. Go to the small juliennes. It's stuck already. Yeah. Stuck. So now let us do the soft fruit. I'm gonna go into slice again. Let's do a 1.5 millimeter slice, and let's do tomatoes. I'm gonna put the guard, and let's do that. So it's doing a fairly good job. These are very thin slices, but you do see a lot of juice coming out, so there's a slight amount of squishing. Now granted, this tomato is not very ripe, it's still a little bit firm. Let's try it with this one. I need to remove the julienne blades. This back. Go over here. And the thinnest slice. And let's do the slice. This is where the consistency of the V-edge shows. This is way too thin and it wasn't very consistent. Let's make it a bit thicker. There you go, that's more like it. So here are my thoughts. Back to what I said in the introduction, I really wanted to like this one. It's just so easy to operate. The build quality is much better. I was even happy that technically I can sharpen this blade if I have to, whereas it's impossible with this. And it has way more different levels of thicknesses to use than the V-blade, which has very questionable, in my opinion, build quality. It's not easy to operate at all, and it only has 4 different thickness levels. So I really did want to like the Chef Mandoline. Unfortunately, I just can't. The V-slicer, despite all the pitfalls, is a much better Mandoline. It's much easier to use. Now granted, if you're looking for consistency and consistency alone, you might be better off with the straight edge, the Chef. Personally, when I'm cutting vegetables, I really don't care about that consistency to the millimeter. I'm not serving them in a Michelin star restaurant. I would rather use a Mandoline slicer that's easier to cut, requires less force and effort, than one that is harder but gives me more consistent results. So that's it for me. I hope this was helpful. I will put links for both products in the description. These are affiliate links, so if you do decide to purchase any of those, I would appreciate if you would go through these links. I may earn some commission at absolutely no extra cost to you, but this will greatly help support the channel. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to my channel, as this encourages me to continue producing content. Until next time, cheers.